Hello there everyone, this is the Wayback Tech, and this video is going to be a little bit different than other videos. I'm actually building a brand new, well, mostly brand new anyway, Pentium II machine from 1997. This is going to be the ultimate 1997 Pentium II build. The best components that were around at that time, or close to anyway. And yeah, we're going to be actually picking the components out. We're going to go back in time to 1997 to pick out the components off the internet, and then we're going to build the system. So it should be kind of interesting for a few people. I don't know, but it was fun to do this project. Kind of wanted to build a brand new vintage machine just for the hell of it. And this is going to be, I think this is going to be a very nice system, if nothing else, to compare with other stuff for future face-off videos. So anyway, let's go ahead and get to the build, shall we? Alright, so the first thing we've got to do for this retro computer build from 1997 is we've got to buy some parts. So we're taking a look at Aberdeen Inc.'s website here from 1997, December 10th, 1997 actually. These guys actually are still around, but they are doing custom servers apparently, it looks like nowadays. But we can at least have a nice snapshot of what things cost back then from these guys. Now they were a little bit more of a retail priced place. They really didn't have a heck of a lot of discount compared to people that were in like Computer Shop or things like that. They were a few dollars under retail, but pretty much same price, a couple dollars less than what you would pay like at Best Buy or CompUSA or something like that. So you can see here the home page. You can see some advertisements here for some of the latest and greatest products for 1997 here. SCSI CDRWs, or I guess they're just R's, not RWs. And AGP Socket 7 boards. Ooh, yeah. And we've got our 440LX board here, and then we've got another one down here, the ShuttleHot 631. Very nice board. I like ShuttleHot's products back then. They were really good products. They made good motherboards. I really like them. So let's take a look at the cases here to start off with. And this particular case right here is something that people use quite often building computers. This is the one you might know or recognize this. This is the case that the Pentium Pro is in right now, at least one of them. That I built a dual Pentium Pro system in, although that's not the same system anymore. It's a single Pentium Pro now if you've been keeping up with the videos. So $99. That's the one I was factoring into the price of this computer build. The actual case that I picked out is probably closer to the Super Middle Tower right here. Something like this right here. Not this exact case, not this style, but something similar to that. Something that's a little bit more heavy-duty looking. Could go with one of these server cases down here, like the Super Micro or something like that. Something that's a full tower. You know, like maybe the Super Tower right here. It's even got air filter in it. Look at that. $229. Yeah, that's a nice case right there. That's a really nice case. I wouldn't mind having that. So that's probably what I would have chosen back then, actually. And of course, none of the prices for this include shipping. So we're just going off of the prices that are on the list here, and doesn't include shipping. So let's go ahead and take a look at the CPUs here. Now this is going to be a Pentium II 300, which in 1997 was the fastest Intel processor. So you can take a look here. We've got some Pentium II overdrives here. These are, I'm pretty sure these are the Socket 8 overdrive chips right here. $619 for the 266. The 333 hadn't even come out yet. So we come down here to the Pentium II processor cards as a column. $849 for the Pentium II 300 that's going in this system. It's one of the brand new ones that I pulled from the from that garage that I showed in the one of the Mega Hall videos. Actually, I did use it in the last face-off video, the Slot 1 face-off video. So technically, it has been used once, at least for that. But you know. $849. Now we can take a look at the prices of the Pentium Pro back then. 200 megahertz Pentium Pro, 512K cache, over $1,000 for that sucker. Pentium CPUs, Pentium 233 MMX was $351. Now if you go back to January or February, somewhere around that time, whatever the beginning of the year is here that they have archived. This processor is like $700, something like that. It's amazing how much that price dropped. That processor price dropped in just within that year. We can see here the K6 233, $263. Basically $100 less than the Intel processor. K5, $104. PR166. That was still a pretty decent processor in 1997. That did pretty good. In fact, I'm pretty sure that's when I'm pretty sure I got my K5 133 early 1997, and it seems like my dad got the 166 chip, which I have now, later on in 1997. So then it was a good buy. Then actually we ordered that out of Computer Shopper, I think. One of the people in Computer Shopper, and it came with the motherboard too, which I still have that motherboard. Actually, it's an Amptron board, better known as PC chips. It's a TX board, not a TX Pro. It's a true Intel TX chipset on that board. It's actually a pretty good board. I'm not going to look at floppy drives. That's a $15 part, so we all know what those look like by now, I think. The most expensive IDE hard drive on this list, December 1997, it looks to me like, was the Diamond Max Store 8.4 gigabyte drive, $383. Of course, that doesn't even come close to the price of the SCSI hard drives. Now, the Seagate Barracuda 9, this is the drive that will be going in this system, 9.1 gig, 7200 RPM, and the only reason is because this is the hard drive I happen to have on hand that actually is brand new. It's not this exact part number, but it was made a couple years later than this. But the specs are the same on it. So $829. But that's not the most expensive SCSI drive. Let's go scroll down here a little bit, and we can see the sexy little Seagate Cheetah 10,000 RPM drive right here, $1,100. Yeah, hello. Yeah. Now I do have some 9.1 gig, 10,000 RPM. SCSI drives. They're Western Digital drives, and I might use that in this system, but those tend to get really hot, and something like that I would prefer to have a fan over them, just because they get so hot. So I'm not going to go with that one. The performance in this case, this one's the Barracuda is going to be plenty adequate for the system. Let's go keyboard and mice, typical stuff here. As you can see, we jumped to January of 1998, so we're 1 month later, roughly 1.5 months later. And this is one of the problems with the Wayback Machine, is that a lot of these archived pages are kind of broken, and it kind of jumps around a little bit. Well, we didn't jump too far ahead here. So we got a few choices here. They didn't have a lot of choices in products. I think a lot of this stuff, basically, the reason why they kind of only have a certain amount of stuff on here is this is the stuff that they either had vendors that supplied them this stuff, or this is the stuff that they had the least problems with, and so they felt comfortable actually selling it without having too many returns. So you see this 3D Smart keyboard. This is just one of those ergonomic split keyboards here, kind of a copycat of the Microsoft keyboard. I don't really care for these keyboards, but I know some people like them. And it definitely is a 90s thing. I mean, this was definitely something that I don't know if people really cared for them back then, but it seemed like a lot of people bought them, if nothing else. We've got this Fujitsu keyboard right here, which is probably what I would have gone with back then, since they don't sell a Mitsumi, although Mitsumi might have made them for Fujitsu. I'm not sure about that. But 19 bucks, nice simple keyboard, gets the job done. We got this Maxi Switch keyboard right here, tactile, $29, not bad at all. I might have gone with this one actually. It looks to me like this is a mechanical keyboard if Maxi Touch is actually a mechanical switch. Maxi Switch, if that actually stands for a mechanical switch. $29 though, that's really impressively priced for a mechanical keyboard if that's actually what that is. So we can also see here the Microsoft keyboard OEM must be purchased with CPU, $49. and you see it's that split keyboard there. The only reason I might want one of these is just because it's on the background of the Windows 95 setup image, but that's the only reason. I have no interest other than that in having one of those. I don't care for them. Logitech mice, let's see, the most expensive one here, this is actually a wireless trackball mouse. No, that's actually not the most expensive. The most expensive is the Retail IntelliMouse, $71. Now, in this case, I would have gone with the IntelliMouse, in all honesty. And we know what that looks like, I think, so we don't need to take a look at that. Monitors. Now, here's where things get interesting. We'll go back to memory in a second here. ViewSonic. Now, this particular monitor here, this PT813, I actually have that monitor. And it is made in 1997. The back of it, I think, is March or April, something like that, 1997. Really good monitor. It still works perfectly fine too. I found it at a thrift store many years ago for like 15 bucks. It's a great monitor, 21 inch. It's a big CRT, but you can see it has very high resolution. The DPI is not that great. .28 is a little fat for a 21 inch monitor. But the 25 millimeter is actually better. The smaller the DPI, the finer the image is. So I don't really know why the 810 costs less than this one did, except for the fact that this one has a little bit higher refresh rate. But yeah, $1,300. So we can definitely factor that into the price now. When I get to the end, and I'm actually going to tell you the price, I didn't factor this monitor in originally because I kind of forgot that I had this monitor. I had it at work and we were actually using it on a service PC, but it doesn't really have a lot of time on it. I kept it in sleep or turned off most of the time, so it's still, it's maybe got 10 hours on it at work since I set it up, maybe. But the most expensive one here on the list is actually this 29-inch monitor down here, $2,000. And let's see if it brings up a picture of that. I think this is nothing more than a high-resolution television set. Yeah. Big, heavy, bulky television set, high resolution. Yeah. That probably would have looked pretty good for TV, though, I would imagine, even back then. So let's take a look at the memory here. Now, for this system, you can see here they were selling 30-pin SIMs still, 1997. 13 bucks for 4 meg sticks. That's not too bad. You can get them cheaper nowadays on eBay, but that's a pretty good price back then. 16 meg of 32 meg fast page memory right here. No, that's 64 megabytes. Sorry, $300. $300. Look at the price jump. Sorry, look at the price jump from 32 meg to 64 meg right there. Then that's insane. That's why people didn't buy. That's why 64 meg sticks. That's hard to find. Although nowadays it's probably easier to find now. But again, the same thing is true with EDO RAM. Look at the price jump just from 32 to 64 meg per stick. I mean, that's insane. And again, we go down here to the stuff, 36-bit stuff with parity. This is actually just a little bit faster than this stuff here. $549 for a 128 megabyte stick. But you can see the cost per stick here is not a whole lot more than the 32-bit stuff. 160-pin coast modules here. There's your cache memory right there, 14 bucks. Not bad. But we'll get down here. 168-pin fast page, 168-pin SD RAM, $197 right here for 64 meg sticks. But that's not the memory that's going to be going in this system. We're going for the ultimate here, right? Scroll down here at the bottom. Lifetime warranty DIMMs, 128 megabyte sticks, recommended for 440 LX HEP boards, $639. That means the memory alone, 4 sticks of memory, $2,500, give or take a couple dollars. $2,500 just for RAM to max this thing out. That's insane. But you could spend that much nowadays too. I'm not really sure. This is That's ECC RAM. Excuse me. I was looking at the wrong thing. This is the stuff, right? I'm not running ECC RAM in it. $579. Okay, so still we're looking at $2,200 for that. I don't know why I missed that ECC thing. Let me go back here to make sure that I'm still in January here. Let me go back here because I was looking at that wrong. Come on. Yeah. Okay, here we go. This is what I was looking at before. Yeah, this is non-ECC. Yeah. At least I think it is. They're not saying whether it is or not. Well, I'm just going to assume it's not. $649. There you go. Yeah. So yeah, $2,500 for RAM to get this thing up to 512 meg RAM. Motherboard, I'm going with the 8-bit LX6. And as you can see, it jumped back to January again. This is Tom's Hardware's most favorite board ever. He loved this board so much that he didn't even bother to wait till the end of his review of the Pentium II board, the Pentium II LX boards, and he didn't wait till the end of the review to tell you which one he liked. I should say, he told you straight up front. I mean, it was the first page. This is the board I love, so that's the board I got, and it actually ended up being very cheap. I found a very good buy on that board, and you'll see it when I actually do the build here. So I originally thinking about this, I was going to go with the P2L97 board. These boards are expensive and somewhat rare on eBay, or there's limited numbers of these on eBay and they're expensive. Let's put it that way. So I scrapped that idea. The S is the one with integrated SCSI, and we've got the DS board. Now there was one on eBay for $50. The guy claimed that he didn't think it ever had been used, but it was just the board, didn't have the manual, software box, IO shield, anything like that. It was just the board by itself. But you can see $500 for that board. Now I have no interest in doing a dual Pentium II system. I've already been down that road. You gotta run NT4 or Windows 2000 on it to be able to utilize both processors, and that limits you in certain things, and I don't really want to do that. I wasn't really a big fan of it when I did it. It was fun to play with it, but I'm just not really a big fan of dual processor. A lot of the games didn't take advantage of it anyway, and you know, running Quake 3 on it, I'd rather run Quake 3 on like a Tualatin or something. I mean, so anyway, let's see here. Multimedia. I actually have two cards that I'm going to choose between. The OS64. Now I only have the value, unfortunately. I don't have the gold. I'm not sure which one of these two I've actually got. PNP. Let's take a look at that one. Do they have a picture of that one? Because I've actually got... I know I've got the retail card, and then I've got the OEM one. The retail card I bought back in 1997 or 1998, something like that. I actually bought it at Best Buy, I think. Still got that card. So I'll either go with the OS64 in this case, or and they don't have it here, but the Diamond Monster Sound card that I've got. Creative PC DVD. I was looking at getting this on eBay. There is a guy that's got some of these refurbished with everything, but he wants like $45, like $50, 45 or $50, something like that. And that's just way too much. I sent him a best offer, and he didn't want to budge on his price, so I just said screw it to that. Network card. Gonna go with a trusty little 305 or 905 TX right here, which is you know, it's for almost a $70 card, just because I've got that card. It's a good card. I recommend that on these vintage systems. It's easy to get drivers for this, and it works great. Software, Windows 95, obviously. No, I'm not going to go with Windows 98. I've got plenty of Windows 90. I've been running Windows 98 forever. I'd rather go with something error correct for this. So I've got Windows 95 right here, 2.1, which is actually revision B. I believe this is revision B. Let me just take this lower specs. I think 2.1 is B and 2.5 is C. Yeah, 2.1. I think this is B version. Well, it says 2.5 right here, though. Weird. 209, or 109, I mean. Oh, that goes clear up to 2001. Oh, okay. Well, that's kind of strange. But anyway, yeah, example of how their site's broken. Or the archive site is broken. But, yeah, and look at how much Office was back then. My God. $509. Whew, man. NT workstation. Now, granted, this system probably, if this wasn't a gaming system, it definitely would be an NT4 workstation. Definitely. But we're going for a gaming system. We don't mess with NT4 for a gaming system, honestly. Some stuff runs on it good. I actually like NT4. It's a really good little operating system for these vintage computers. It's really fast, too. Being designed for the Pentium Pro, it's great on a Pentium Pro and a Pentium II. It's just fantastic on those processors. Let's see here. So yeah, $139 for that. The one that I've got, I think, is revision C. It's brand new from the last Mega Haul. I think it's revision C. We'll find out when I actually go ahead and install it. But I am going to be opening that package. There's actually going to be quite a few brand new items that I'm going to be unboxing in the next video. Oops, I meant to click video cards. I'm not doing tape driving this. Don't need that. Alright, so we've got the Expert at Work and Expert at Play. Now, the difference here between these two cards is that the Expert at Work lacked the TV out and S-Video out that the Work at Play came with. So you paid a little bit more for that little feature. It was really kind of useless anyway back then. I mean, you could connect it to your VCR, your TV, but it didn't really look very good. I tried it a few times back then. Even since then, after the late 90s, it didn't really work too good. So let's go back here, 1997. Okay. So the card that I've got is the Expert at Work card. It was made in early 1998, but it is the same card as this one. It was in 1997. It's a Rage 2. I mean what is it? Rage Pro AGP2X card, I think it's called. The chip is called on it. I mean. Let's see here. And I was looking at the benchmarks I think it was Tom's Hardware did. And the Expert card was typically just right under the Diamond Viper. Now, the Diamond Viper is one that I initially was going to put in the system. And I don't feel like spending $20 for this card, honestly. I've got some of these. Scroll down to the bottom here. I've got some of these STB Velocity 128s already. I've actually got one that was made in November of 1997, so that would be perfectly error correct for this build, assuming we were ordering this on December 10th, 1997. And I may end up going with that card, but for right now, I'm actually going to go with the ATI Expert. And the only reason is because I'd like to see what the performance actually is on it. I don't know if the card that I have is 4 meg or 8 meg. I don't know that yet. But the performance difference between those two cards was the Expert cards were a little bit slower, but they had better 3D rendering than the Riva 128. So it's a bit of a trade-off. The Expert card had about the same quality as the original Voodoo 3DFX Voodoo card did, but it was faster than that. So you got to remember, in 1997, all these top of the line, you know, the ATI Expert and the V330 here, the Riva 128, I should say, those were all faster than the original Voodoo card. The Voodoo 2 wouldn't come out till next year, guys. So maybe sometime we'll put a Voodoo 2 in this computer, but right now I just want to go with an original build from 1997, which would not have a Voodoo 2, and it probably wouldn't have a Voodoo card unless you really wanted to play 3DFX games. But you know, back then it was kind of like, we'll just, because DirectX and OpenGL was kind of the big thing back then. After between the Voodoo and Voodoo 2, Voodoo 2 really took the 3DFX stuff to a whole nother level and brought them back into the game. But that that 1997 era was just it wasn't 3DFX's time yet. And okay, you could go with a Matrox Millennium 2. It is an expensive card, but it's not as fast in the benchmarks for gaming. OpenGL it creams pretty good, but DirectX no. It's not as fast as these guys. So for a gaming system, this is not the card you want now. For graphic design, CAD, definitely a Millennium 2. That's what these cards were intended for. So when I priced up this system, these parts, look at that cool little banner ad right there. So this is what ads used to be. You know, just this nice little thing right here. 3D Rage Pro. So they're even advertising the video card that I'm putting in this system. Look at that. But when I priced this system up, I was at about $6,200 roughly. That's a lot of money. We're definitely going to be burning the credit card out with this one and paying for it for the next half of our life. Paying for it well after this computer is outdated, that's for sure. But for the time being, yeah, we're going to burn that credit card. No, money's no object. We want this thing to last another couple years. I mean, that, you know, just picture here. Pentium 133. Picture that Dell XPS 133. Let's picture, I'm sitting here on AOL on that Dell Pentium 133. Man, I've got this new credit card. I've just got to get a new computer. This 2-year-old Pentium 133 just can't cut the mustard anymore. I just can't do anything on AOL anymore. It's so slow. I've got to get a new computer. Credit card's burning a hole in the wallet. Get it on this site right here. And click happy. That's right. Ooh, the most expensive one's going to be the best one. Yeah. There's some truth to that to some extent. But anyway, look at how much Millennium 2 PCI. There you go. Mystique 220. I actually do have this card. It's a good card. It's a decent card. I don't mind the 220. Not very good in 3D quality, but it's kind of an interesting card. I like that card. Mainly because I like the logo on the box, which I wish I had the box. But I like the logo on the box, the Joker logo on the box and on the CD. Yeah, that was cool. That was cool. They had really cool box art. That's something else. They had really cool box art back then for this stuff. Oops. Oh yeah. Anyway, that doesn't show us the card. Upgrades to DVD, TV tuner, and video capture card to make your state-of-the-art expansion card options. Huh? I wouldn't mind finding one of those expansion cards. That's kind of cool. That might be kind of fun to play with. But anyway, so let's fast forward a couple days here and knock on the door. UPS man delivers our parts. And in the next video, I'll show you all those parts, and we'll start building the computer. So thank you very much for watching part 1 of this 1997 Pentium II 300 build. Peace out, everyone. I almost forgot. I'm going to show you this article real quick here. It's written by Thomas Pass back when he did all the articles, pretty much all the articles for Tom's Hardware, and I think he was even involved with all the benchmarking as well. He had a couple other people, I think, but helping him out. But I really respect what he said, his reviews and stuff. So October 20th, 1997. And if you want to read this full review of the newly released quote-unquote LX chipset, you can see the link right here at the top in the browser, and you just type that in, pause the video, type that in if you want to in your web browser or Google it. But he's talking about the new 440 LX chipset and how it's replacing the old 440 FX chipset, which really wasn't that old yet. And how it runs EDO RAM and FPM RAM, all that fun stuff. Talks about the 430TX chipset. Then we get down here, the first motherboard, the 8-bit LX6, and he is so excited about this 8-bit LX6. This LX board is my #1 choice. Don't go for less. Right there. It doesn't even get through the review. of these LX motherboards. And he's got quite a few of them down here too. Look at all these boards he's testing right now, including that beloved Shuttle Hot 631 board, which I believe is the only other LX board that had 4 memory slots on it, right there. But yeah, this is a pretty kick-ass motherboard. wasn't as expensive as the Asus board, but it has a lot of interesting overclocking features, and I guess this doesn't want to come up now. But anyway, yeah. So if you want to read this article, I definitely recommend you guys go hit Google and bring this up. Tom's Hardware here, review of the Pentium II boards with Intel's 440LX chipset. Probably put that in a Google search. It'll probably come up with that. It's interesting though that he says that this bus speed is 50 to 100 megahertz. I know it's definitely 100 megahertz, but I don't think it can go down to 50. We'll find out. But the 100 megahertz is pretty cool. I'd like to actually test that to see if it can actually run this, if this chipset can actually run at 100 megahertz. It should be interesting. I'll probably have to put a 100 megahertz Pentium 2 chip in it. I mean, to get it to make sure it's not the processor that's unstable. But being that the Klamath chips are multiplier unlocked, yeah, I could run this actually at three times 100 to equal 300 megahertz, but we're just running it at 66 megahertz. Honestly, when I set this all up, I'm just going to leave it all stock. No, I don't think there's going to be a benefit to running 100 megahertz, and this might overclock the AGP too. I don't know. I don't know if they had thought of that yet, because that little thing wouldn't actually become a normal thing until the BX chipset to put a divider in the AGP bus speed there, or clock speed. I mean the AGP bus clock, whatever you want to call it there. To what is it, 1.5 I think. So 100 megahertz is still running at 66. 1.5 divisor, something like that. But yeah, so if it was so impressive to Tom, that's the one I'm going for in this system. And it was actually about half the price on eBay for this board. $26 is all I paid for that board. In box, with manual, with CD, with IO shield, everything. Just like it was. Cables, everything. Just pretty much as if it was brand new.